Hello creators, welcome back. I hope you guys are all having a break from this summer heat wave. So to inspire us to think of cooler things, today I'm going to walk you through how to make a Dollar Tree snowman. Super simple. You might even have a lot of the supplies laying around your house. So if you like this video and you want to reference it when you get all of your stuff together, click the share button down below. It's like what I did when I was first learning how to create. If there was design ideas or color palettes or things that I was interested in, share the video, puts it on your Facebook page. So much easier to find than, trying to figure out who did I see that from or whatever. So share button to put that on your Facebook page. Also, if you're new, I'd like to welcome you. It's been a while. We've had like a really bad heat wave here in Washington, and the temperatures in the shop have gotten just a little too hot to actually be out here filming. That's what interrupted us on Tuesday. So I shared the tutorial that we were going to be working on anyway. Just kind of did that, and that's all good. I'm hoping this is the break that we've been looking for in this heat wave. So I know a lot of you are, dealing with really hot summer temperatures. So hang in there, grab your favorite drink. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and pivot you on down. So just like this, let me make sure we have all of our measurements where we can see them. So we're going to be using the Dollar Tree snowman frame. And I know it may not be out yet, but you should, if you have them laying around. I did so many of these last year because they were super simple, easy to make. They're a great project you can do with your family as well. Move all of my cords and let me get the comments up. Let me go ahead and pin some posts. Hi Gloria, hi Candace, welcome. Let's go ahead and get this up. Okay, and then we can go ahead and get started. Okay, there we go. We're going to pin this. Thank you, Gloria, for sharing. Okay, there we go. Pinned comment. So the dimensions of this are going to be, I'm looking at the frame right now. The frame is about 23 inches tall. And if we're measuring from the end of his finger to the end of this one, it's almost 18 inches wide. And depending upon what you use for the nose, you can keep the dimensions small enough that this could be a storm door wreath, which is perfect. And then of course, picking your ribbon colors will make it whether it's going to be just Christmas only, or you can stretch that out for the duration of the winter. So we're going to go ahead and get started. You're going to need 2 different types of yarn, or 2 different colors. Hi Cheryl, welcome from Canada. So we have this, I love the chunky yarn from Michaels, the Bernat big blanket yarn. So we're using the white for the head and the body of our snowman. And then we're going to be using the big chunky black. That is going to be for his hat and for his little arms. So we're just going to go ahead and start right here. You're not going to use the whole thing, obviously. You'll probably get like maybe 3 or 4 out of here. So what you're going to do is you're going to start down here at the bottom, and we're going to do like a really quick tie on, just so that we have it secured to our wreath. And you can decide which way you want them to be. So you could do it either or. You can have his hat facing towards the right, or flip him over and do hat facing left. You could also do both and color coordinate these so that they can be perfect for a double door. Now, I'm going to do mine facing, the hat facing towards the right. That's just kind of what I wanted to do. And I like the functionality of this frame that you could go either direction. So nice big thick chunk down here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do is there's a little weld mark right here. I'm just going to take a little dab of glue. I'm going to move that here. So that'll go ahead and keep the yarn in place. And then what we're going to do, simply put, is we're going to start wrapping this. And it gets a little challenging at the beginning. So obviously you're going to use your glue gun just to kind of keep things in order. And I'm just going to tack this here. And then we're going to start wrapping. I'm going to do the same thing right here with this little tail. The wrapping part is the easy part. Getting going and then staying going will be the challenging part. You will also need buttons, which you can pick those up at like Hobby Lobby or Joann's. Hi Twyla, welcome. So as you can see, I am just preparing the very bottom to get our wrap going. So I'm just going to bring this up and over, just like this. And we're just trying to create the base so that it is much easier for us to wrap. And you're going to wrap him up and over and around, and just until you get to the point where you have a pretty good base going, then you can just wrap quickly. So start slow at the bottom, because that's going to make all the difference in the world how that looks when it's wrapped. Doing the same thing here, getting my wrap going. Okay. Gonna go ahead and add 2 more dots right here. And then once you get your layer built, it's really super easy to get the wrap part going. Because right now all it wants to do is slide down to a point. So this should be here, and then another dab here, and I think we can get up and going. There we go. And he's going to be super thick and super fluffy. So you're just going to keep building as you wrap all the way around. And if you feel like you just want to tack some extra pieces in place, by all means, go ahead and do that. Sometimes I do because I don't like to see any of my frame exposed. So from time to time, I'll just tack it down so that it stays nice and snug, like you're building layer upon layer. Okay, up and over. We're trying to get this a little bit more straight instead of a little bit more curvy. I'm going to go ahead and tuck this here. At some point it will even out. But it's kind of nice because it creates a very thick, fluffy snowman. So like I said, you can get chunky yarn wherever you prefer. You don't have to get it from Michael's. You could get it from Hobby Lobby. You might already have enough chunky yarn laying around. Now, I don't know specifically, like if I was to measure this out, how full is that? It's just going to be everyone's preference. Some people will pull tighter. Some people will go more loose. But you will have more than enough to go all the way around. Okay. And if you feel like working with this much yarn is burdensome, then go ahead and, pull off a big, huge section. It's not any major issue to go ahead and tie it back on if you run out before you get to the very top. It gets much, much easier as we get nearer to the top. I'm going to go ahead and turn this sideways now. And the thing about the white and black is that it is a lint magnet. So it's going to pick up everything. You know, if you have any type of lint or debris, it's just going to kind of catch it. But it's not super hard to get off. But you want it to stay nice and tight so that you don't have those gaps going in between. I'm just going to go ahead and spin this around so it's easier for me. Again, tagging it from time to time just to keep it in place so that when I'm looking at the sides, you don't see the frame showing through. And you're going to go around the hands. So this is where I'm going to tag it here. Up and around. I'm going to do the same on the other side. Because we're going to come back to the hands after we get the body all complete. So now we're going over his little stick hands. We'll tag that here so that it doesn't slide back down. So you want to make sure those pieces nice and tight up against the hands. Okay, gonna go ahead and get that right underneath, and then we're gonna keep wrapping. And you can see that it wants to, as it gets here, it's gonna want to slide down. So this is where you'll have to tack it a couple extra times as you start getting near, so that it'll stay nice and snug to your frame. So just keep pushing down. Let's go around. See how it just wants to scoot on down. If you don't tag it with glue, then what ends up happening is you start to see some of your black frame come through on the sides. And what I'm saying is, like, right in here, you don't want to see any black frame. You want to keep it nice and close. And I'm not putting a ton of pressure on there, just enough. And you can kind of just pat that down. If you want to add glue to some of these sections and maybe make them a little bit more fluffy, it's entirely up to you. I don't generally glue the body part. I just will glue the ends of the frame. But I need to keep these in place because I don't want the frame coming through. So it's only when you're working with the upper part of your circle and the lower part. You can even take binder clips if you want to hold it in place as you continue to wrap. I'm just such a peculiar person for, like, making sure I don't want to see the mechanics of a creation. I don't want to know. I kind of want it to have still be, like, to be a mystery of how did they put that all together? What did they do? And you can even do this if you don't have a Dollar Tree frame. You can take a small, like, 8-inch frame and maybe like a 10-inch and stack them together so that and just like zip tie them right here, one on top of the other, and that will kind of hold those in place. Getting to the neck part is going to be super simple. Again, just making sure that my wrap here stays close. And I'll show you how to fix it if you're like, oh, look, my frame is starting to show. I'll show you how we can fix that really quick. But you don't want to pull so tight when you get to this section that you start causing that to happen. Okay, up and around. We're almost through the difficult part. See, we need to get that all covered right in here. So when you're putting your yarn on, as you like get to the part where you're connecting the circles, your yarn wants to automatically go to the gap area and just like slide right in nice and tight. But we still need it to cover our frame. So from time to time, go around and look at that and make sure, you know, did you successfully completely cover your frame part? So I'm going to come in here and glue all that in place so that when I bring this up and over, that we have covered where his head starts to connect. And then this is where it'll get easy again because we're going up the loop. Okay, nice and smooth. And then as we start to build on his head, it becomes easier to go back around again. Just like so. And I'm trying to make sure that we have a smooth piece. Like, you don't want it to just constantly keep bunching up together. I'm going to go ahead and tack these down so they stay where I want them to stay. Because we don't want it too thick. So I just thought I'd give you guys a super simple project to do this morning. Hi, Linda, right? It's cooling down. I'm hoping that it stays cool. It's been horrible at night, just not being able to sleep with it being so hot, because most of the houses in Washington do not have air conditioning. And people are like, oh, I thought your studio or your shop had AC. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Because basically it was whoever had the property before just used this as an oversized car, like a shop for cars. So no AC. But it does have a roll top door. But that doesn't matter when it's 100 degrees plus humidity. It does not feel good at all. So like I said, just from time to time, in order to make it, and that'll make sure that things stay where they're supposed to. You can tack one side and then maybe alternate. It's entirely up to you. And then here, as we're getting to the hat, we're going in under the brim. Oops. Need to go up here. But he's got a nice plushy little body. And I'm going to go ahead and pull what I think will be enough yarn off the roll. I think that'll be more than enough. Just because at this point, I need to kind of get creative in how this is going to go. So I need it to kind of come up through the middle of the hat, right here. Probably cut way too much off. But I need to finish my circle before I can, you know, just focus on what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck that in place. Same thing here. he's almost built. So again, gonna come through the hat. So I'm gonna come through right in here. And I'm gonna go up, cover his head, because that's what we're working on, is his head. So now that we're coming back to that closed circle, you're gonna have to tag it all the time. Same thing, we're gonna go back up through the hat because we're covering his head. Bring that in nice and close. This is where you don't want to pull too hard, because if you pull too hard, you start to pull it out of your circle. So we're almost finished with the body part. And then everything else goes so much quicker than this. Oop. I always like hold too long until the glue starts to seep through the other side. And I have my glue on pretty hot. There we go. Last piece, I'm going to tag all the areas right here on my frame for my final piece. And we want to go a little light right here so that I'm going to go ahead and cut this extra piece off. So that now when I go to flip him over, see, he looks the same on both sides. I'm going to cut that off. And I'm just going to glue this right back on to our circle. And this is where I'm saying, if you have little places where it starts to show, there's a couple options you have. You can cut little pieces of it off if it's a large gap, but most of the time you can just take your chenille and just pull them together and put a little dab of glue in there. Kind of gather them together, the little fur on the chenille, and you cover your ends. Or like I said, you can take your little piece. Like I have one a little bit right here. So if I wanted to, I can cut just a small little piece, attach glue. Go ahead and place that right in there. And we're good to go. Now remember, this is our back side. So I'm going to glue this because this is our piece on our back side where we started. Okay, flipping that back over. He is nice and full and fluffy. And so now we have to deal with trying to push him down. So he just he mashes into his little shape there. Now we're going to go ahead and work the arms with our black. Couple options if you wanted to for realistic purposes. You could take twine and wrap twine around here. You can take brown yarn, beige yarn, whatever. I'm using black because the color combination I'm doing is kind of like a black, a white, and a blue. And you don't need a ton of this, so I'm going to kind of cut off approximately what I think I might need just to do his arms. And we're going to start at the bottom of his arm. So down here at the bottom from the back side. So a little bit of glue right on my yarn. Going to come in here right at the base where his arm is. Give it just a second to set up. And I'm just going to wrap the twigs around, or wrap the yarn around his little twig arms. So it's going to be kind of interesting how it goes. So you're just going to wrap and wrap, and now we're going through the short part of his hand. And I like to get up to the top, add a little bit of glue to the top so that that end stays covered. Okay, we're going to go right back down to my stem, and I'm going to do the middle section. So again, go up, and we're going to go around to the middle. Once you get up to the top, again. And this, when I do his arms, I actually do wind pretty tight. And then I'm going to go do his other portion of his arm. And I'm going to wrap, 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 wrap. Get it up towards the top. A little bit there. And I'm going to go from the back, and I'm just going to wrap. Oop, there we go. See, this is that lint magnet. I'm going to go right in between. Bring this up, wrap it back around his arm, and then we're going to end it. And you can bend his little fingers whichever way you want. I'm going to tag this to the back. There's some people who have suggested, like, when Dollar Tree comes out, they have like little mini mittens. You can put little mittens on his hands if you'd like. This is where I'm saying he just becomes a lint magnet for everything. And then of course, now that I'm using black, everything, every little piece just wants to stay. So here's another. We're going to do this side, starting from the back. I'm going to start this close to his base, and we're going to wrap and then go around the little hand. As you get close, tag that so it'll stay and it won't fall off. Okay, now we're going to do his middle. I mean, you can run it all the way up if you want. It's just going to stay on. And then I'm going to bring this back over. There we go. And then I'm going to go up the other side of his other arm. There's one. There's two. I'm trying to move all the lint off of here. It's going to need a really good, like, picking once you're done. We're going to kind of go back down, wrap it around his arm yet again, and we're good there. Tack this to the back. And then his arms are done. There we go. Flipping him back over. There's his little arms. There's his body. And now we're going to do his hat. So his hat is a little bit different. So first of all, you're going to wrap his hat around the brim. It's got a couple different stages you want to work this in. I'm going to go ahead and cut these. So I'm going to actually start here on the back, right here at the brim. Okay. And what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be wrapping the brim part of the hat, this part here. We are just going to go all the way around. Again, just like you're stacking before, just make sure it's nice and smooth all the way up. I'm going to tack this last part because this is where it's going to actually glue together the top to the back. So here's our top. And I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to remove the back. And here's this last little part right here. And this part right here. So I'm going to just fold, and then we are going to pinch those together at the top so that it seals his hat in place. Okay, flipping him back over. This is what we have. So we've got to get this little brim piece in. So the easiest way to do that is just to cut pieces of cardboard down to a length that you want to see the size of his brim. So I just use, like, you know, if you have leftover Amazon boxes, we're going to go ahead and do something like this. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not too thick on any one side. So just like this. And then we're going to do one on the other side. So I'm going to make sure that both of these pieces are somewhat even, so that when we go to affix those to each other, it's going to look like a brim. Okay. We're pretty even. So now we're going to take our yarn. Super simple. Hoping that I have enough here. I know I have enough, but I'm just going to try to use the leftover pieces I already cut. And I'm putting this right on the edge of my cardboard. And you're just going to wrap your yarn all the way down. You got about halfway. So I'll tag this, and then I'll go ahead and put on a little bit longer piece. So right there, just wrap this around the brim. Again, same process. As you get towards the end, you're going to go a little heavy. And then we're going to seal the deal with these ones. And then what we've created on the front part is the front part of his hat. Okay, and then we're going to make one for the back side. It's just easier if you do a front and a back to make the brim, because here the brim is so narrow that if you were just to wind your you know, your yarn around this point, it's not going to look like a hat. You know, you're going to have these thin little pieces just kind of out to the side. So we want a little bit of a thicker brim. So it's just going to kind of come in here like that. I'm going to go ahead and wrap my other piece. You could even use poster board or whatever you have laying around. And I want them slightly longer so that they overlap each other. So this is where I'm going to add it. Go right along your edge and seal that together before you start wrapping. And then now you can start wrapping your cardboard. Okay, we got that one pretty much right on the money. We just have a little bit of overhang. So I'm just going to coat this, drag that back over the top, and then we've created the back part of his brim and the front part. So it's going to kind of sit right here, right on top of here. And then we're going to take the top part and we're actually going to glue these two pieces together so that it forms a pretty thick brim. So I am going to do this here. And then I'm going to take binder clips, and I'm going to use binder clips to help me hold the pressure down on these. Go through and add this one. And I need that just rolled over. That's why we have craft mats down in place. So nice and tight there. We're going to go up, and I'm going to take my binder clips, and I'm going to put some tension on these ends. So adding those two together. Nice and tight. And then that gives him a very full hat. And let's go ahead and get this glue off so it does not impact our design. There we go. Go ahead and get this off because I just don't want to lay him down and then just have him glued on the back. Who would have ever thought, right? And we are good to go. Okay, while his hat is being glued, this becomes the fun part. We have done all the mechanics of this. Hi, Gail. And so now we're going to get ready to start decorating him. So, this is how I got my buttons from Hobby Lobby. They kind of came in a big jar like this. And you can just spread them all out to try to find the right size. I think most of mine I like are basically, and they're all going to be different, so he's not going to have like the same, but we can try to get them similar. Like, you know, we can kind of do his eyes like this. If you want them a little bit bigger, then you can look for bigger eyes. That's a 2. Those aren't really the same. Those kind of are. I try to like find them somewhat close together. That one's kind of an oddball one. I'm looking at like what he has on there now. Like these ones kind of work. And then you need ones for his little smile. So it depends on what you want your snowman to look like. So I'm just kind of following along, giving him a little bit of a smile. Maybe I want this one up here, like that. And this is fun for your kids and your family because you can have them all help out. 1, 2, 3. I have 7 on mine. So I'm going to go a little higher. Bring these a little bit lower. That one's a little bit taller. Those are exactly the same. Okay. Trying to get his smile in there the way I want it to be. Here's another one. That's a 7. Let's try to bring these over a little bit more. Kind of just like that. However you want to make his face, go ahead and like lay out your outline for his buttons. And then once you have those in place, keep in mind that when you're gluing these onto your yarn, you have buttonholes in the center. So don't put your fingers in the center when you're adding your glue, because it's going to go right through. And then bit by bit, just add your buttons. You don't need an awful lot of glue on them, so don't glue heavy. There's this one. And be careful how close you get to your actual glue gun nozzle. This is where parental guidance is required. Parents, you need to help your kids with this part. Have them lay out their buttons and then you do the gluing. Just like that. Okay, so we've got that part down. And then if you want to add buttons to his bottom, you can definitely do that. The thing that I like is the little eclectic look of these is they're all a little bit different. Looking for something fairly large. These ones just seem a tad too big. So let's keep them all the same size. Again, you can decide where do you want to, you know, how many buttons down do you want to go? And then once you get those in place, go ahead and glue those. Just like that. So we've got his head. We have his arms all done. His hat is finishing up gluing. Like I said, the buttons you can get Hobby Lobby, and you can do Michael's, Joann's, I think even Walmart has them. I liked this one because Hobby Lobby had a little bit of everything. Obviously, I'm probably never ever going to use the micro size ones here. And the storage on that is super cute, that I can store that. Okay, let's get these all put together. Throw those all back in, and then we're all done. So the face part, super easy, super fun. I save his nose for the last because it's pretty much, you know, you've got to get through all the other stuff first, which is, let me show you what his nose is going to be. So I'm always buying throughout the year, right? So these are from the Dollar Tree, the little carrots at Easter. You're just going to snip the greens off right here. And he has the most adorable carrot nose. So you can kind of sink that into his yarn. You can kind of go this way, you can go that way, you can go up, you can go down. You know, nose placement is going to be totally up to you. Right, Jane. She says, I don't think it would matter too much if the eyes don't match. It's like a real snowman. Right, because most of us, unless we buy the snowman making kit, nothing matches. So I kind of like him a little bit on the eclectic side. So I am going to do, I think I'm going to change. We're going to do this one black and red. So what we need, first of all, is we need a brim to go around his hat. So you'll need coordinating 1.5 and 2.5 inch. Both of these are from Craft Outlet. So we're going to do the top part of his hat first, which is simply just taking some ribbon here, and we're going to add this right to his hat. It's going to go right around his brim, and I'm just measuring it to where it goes all the way around, always gluing from the back, and that's why we add the nose at the end. We're going to flip this over. I'm going to lay a bead of glue here. We're going to glue that down. And this one, you do want it to be nice and firm. So we're going to glue here as well. Silicone fingertips are definitely going to be a huge asset to you, and making sure those are nice and tight, but they don't have to be overly tight. Just enough to where you can, you know, get the overlap going on. So when we flip him back over, he's got a nice brim to his hat. Remember, we're adding our nose. And then now we're going to add a scarf, or we can add a bow. It's entirely up to you. You can get material and just put an adorable little scarf on him. I'm going to actually make mine, and we're going to do a bow. So the first thing I'm going to do is dovetail my ends together, just like this, cutting from the folded side down to this wired point. And I'm liking these colors because it feels more winter, which means you can put it up for Christmas, but you can also extend it and leave it all the way through the winter on your door. So you need to kind of figure out, hey, where do you want your tails to kind of drop from? I kind of like mine right here. So we're just going to do simple hand tied. So I'm going to measure this so I know where my next one's going to be. I'm going to do 8 inches because that's where that's going to hang. So 8 inches. And then let's do, if I do 9, do I want 9? I'm like looking at his bow, kind of seeing where it's going to fall. That feels a little long, so let's go 8. Did I say 8 before? No, I did 9. Here's 8. That still feels long. But that's what I did before. So let's go 7.5. Right at 7.5. And then I'm going to go 8 inches. So that'll give me a 4-inch loop. So just like this, measure out another 8 inches, pinch, and gather. And then I'm going to measure out my 7.5, which should be right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and redo this one nice. So 7.5 inches in, I'm going to twist. We did 8 inches. We're gathering. We add it to our hand. We're going to twist. Another 8 inches. You're going to gather. Place it in your bundle and then twist. And then now we have a really pretty, nice little bow for him. I'm going to actually stack him in my Bodabra. Just as a way of holding all this. Because we're going to come back in and add the brim piece to here so that it kind of ties everything in. So I'm going to dovetail my end again. I think that's still just a tad too long. It is. Because remember, we went just a little bit longer. Okay. We are good. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with the other, and we're going to go the same length on this ribbon. So dovetail it in. Let's go ahead and put that one back. So we're doing a 7.5 inch tail. We're going to gather, twist. We're going to do 8 inches, gather, pull those together, and then we're twisting. Another 8 inches, gather, bring those together, twist, and 7.5 inches. There we go. Just like so. And I'm going to plop this right into my Bodabra so that I can put my dovetail down. And there is his adorable bow. I'm going to do a white pipe cleaner. Just to hold all this together. You could do a zip tie. So picking up the whole bow, going to drop that right into the center. Nice twist. Then we'll get everything all ironed out here for him. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. And remember the center section, since this is yarn, you can go all the way through to the other side. So wherever you want to place your bow, I like them kind of like right in the center. So I am going to, I'm going to go a little bit higher. I do have to get it through my yarn though. There we go. And I'm going to go down into the bottom section of the frame. So I have one pipe cleaner going in the top, one going into the bottom section. Okay, come on. There we go. And then nice and tight. And guess what? The back end of that pipe cleaner is going to also function as his hanger. So super simple right there. We're going to go ahead and glue his nose on. We will remove our binder clips because his hat is now glued in place. And we're going to glue his nose on. Look at how adorable he is. And you can do him in tons of different colors. You can do blues, greens, more Christmas colors, whatever have you. So super simple. Last little bit of glue. Slap it right on the end of his nose. And then position that wherever you want it to go. And our snowman is done. That is how simple it is to make a Dollar Tree snowman. Right, Cheryl. She said the Dollar Tree sells scarves. You can actually do that as well. It's entirely up to you. There's so many different design options. Like I said, you can put, you know, get a matching scarf and matching mittens, you know, for like a baby or a child. And then you could embellish him this way. Like I said, if you wanted more of a rustic look, instead of the yarn on his hands, you could use twine. So I'm going to show you how this guy is going to go up on our door. So let me go ahead and pivot you up. Hi, everyone. I had to throw my hair up. It is like dying in here. It says only 80 right now, but it is just way too hot. So this is what I'm going to go. Look. So remember how we had our pipe cleaner right here? So this pipe cleaner, we're just going to connect. It's gonna be kind of hard for me to do this, but you're just gonna make like a little loop. And that's where his hanger's gonna be, because I don't know about you guys, but like when I want my snowman hanging on the door, like the one behind me, I don't want to see the hanger. So I make the hangers a little bit farther down into the head so that when it's hung up on the door, that becomes a hanger place for him, just like this guy. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see, has got a little hanger right here, and that's where he hangs from. So the one that we just did, I'm going to, and then remove all the glue threads, give him a really good, you know, pick all the lint and all the other stuff off of him, but that is your Dollar Tree snowman. So do you guys have any questions at all? Both of these guys are going to be available for sale. The first one is already up on my website, which is a really super cute item to put classrooms, right? Smaller spaces. So his finished end result is 24 inches long, 19 inches wide. And then, like I said, depending upon where you put the carrot by itself is only 3 inches tall. So it's about 3.5 inches from the tip of his carrot. So he is perfect for storm door locations, as long as you can fit a 3.5 inch item in there. But of course, even if you wanted, you know, to kind of move his nose over a little bit in order to get that to work, that's entirely up to you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If, like I said, you want to know whenever I go live, make sure you're clicking the like and follow button, which is, like is easy to find on Facebook. The follow, you're just going to go to the 3 dots, click on the 3 dots, click the follow button, and then YouTubers. Since this is a Facebook Live, if you ever want to come join, just go over to Cats Creations Reese on Facebook every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific and every Thursday at 11 p.m. Pacific. Other than that, the website link is pinned below if you'd love to. Oh, quick update. I have done something totally unique. So if you have ever been a Cats Creations member at any time, this went out in the newsletter this last weekend. If you want to come back at the rate in which you left, send me an email at info@catscreationsandmore.com. I will look up your rate, I will send you the link, and you're welcome to come back at the rate in which you left. New members, something different for you. I'm opening the private group for a trial membership, so you can join for 2 weeks for $1. And then at the end of 2 weeks, if you decide to stay, it's going to automatically bill $27 a month. And it'll stay that way until you decide to leave. Or you can also opt to go with a yearly rate and just get that done and out of the way for the year. So again, at the bottom, the link that's pinned to the bottom, both for YouTubers and for Facebook's watchers, both of those are available. And the offer is only until the end of August. And this is 2023. So if you're catching this 4 or 5 years later, this is only for August of 2023. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll talk to you later. Have a blessed weekend, everyone. Bye for now.